You are listening to the Young Black Travelers podcast. Black voices talking on experiential travel, dedicated to creating a global community of travelers. So, be bold, be inspired, be spontaneous. We are YBT. So welcome to another episode of the Young Black Travelers podcast. My name is Asshur Cunningham and I'm the founder of Young Black Travelers and your host for today's podcast. Today, listen, like we do on all of our episodes, we usually invite a guest who talks to us about the trip that they took or something travel related. But this person on today's episode, you guys have met her before. She was on our conversations from Colombia. Let me give you a moment. Let me see if you have really been paying attention to the Young Black Travelers podcast. So I'm quizzing you. This person traveled with me to Colombia. We were in Colombia for close to a month and we did a few episodes in Colombia. Who is this person? Giving you a few moments. All right, so now you've thought through. I'm going to let her introduce herself. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be back.
Yes.
Always a good time. And it's your girl, Toya.
Mm-hmm. Toya is back with us. And
there
Toya,
you go.
Usually when Toya is with us, we are sipping wine.
Yes,
Toya,
we
what
are.
are we sipping today?
This is a beautiful pink Moscato
Pink
that
Moscato.
the host has graciously provided with us.
Listen,
Trust me.
So when you guys come to record in person at the Young Black Travels podcast, I'm not going to say the hospitality is going to be the same all the time, but it usually is.
It
We are
better
usually
be.
sipping on wine
There you
and
go.
a
There
little
you go.
something to munch on. So today we have Pink Moscato.
Yes.
But Toya, since we last spoke, obviously you were last on the podcast on the Colombia episode. So where have you traveled to since? I'm sure a lot of places.
I have been. Yes, I have. So let's go through it pretty quickly, right? So I've been to Jamaica.
Jamaica.
Woohoo! Ocho Rios. Ocho Rios is always beautiful. It's always a good time. I was there for a cousin's wedding. I loved it very much.
Ocho Rios. Okay.
Yes. Also France. France was really, really nice. Only
Really?
because it was because in France, it's like so many different countries that are connected. So you have Saint Tropez, you have Monaco, and I was able to go to. I stayed in Nice, and we visited Saint Tropez, and we visited Monaco. So I had that little 3 different countries in one, baby.
Wow.
Talk about dynamite.
That sounds good.
South
Wow.
of France is definitely a must.
Yeah, I flew into South of France last year when I was going to Portugal, and
Okay.
I was taken aback. It was beautiful. I mean, so I didn't explore it because I
Right.
just flew in and I think I left a few hours later. But
Okay.
landing in Nice was
Yes.
just breathtaking.
It's breathtaking.
And so it's on my list to go back because
You
it is
gotta.
beautiful.
You
So
gotta.
Toya, we got to actually do another podcast episode on that.
we do.
Shoot.
We should.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. And so since then, which was your favorite trip?
I'm not even done.
Ooh, okay.
So I've also been to Costa Rica. Costa Rica was beautiful. I did not go to the San Jose part. I went to the LIR part. So
Okay.
it was more country, a little bit more rustic, a little bit more local vibes. And that was
Okay.
nice. Mexico, Panama, and of course, while we're here, Bali.
Bali.
There you go.
And so out of those, which was your favorite?
That's the thing. So that's a really, really good question, right? Because each of them has its own unique perspective and its own unique experience that it's left me with. But I would say my most favorite one was probably Bali.
Bali.
But the Bali swing, I don't care. The Bali swing is literally the most memorable experience you can ever have. It's so high up.
Okay.
And you don't realize how high up it is until you're there. But it's such a beautiful view. And there's a beautiful natural waterfall in the Bali spring. And of course, like a forest kind of thing. Bali is so beautiful. So I think Bali, but
Mm.
Costa Rica, because of its beaches, of course, and its animals
Mm.
and the
Yeah.
food, so I'm tired.
So Costa Rica and Bali come in for a tie.
There you go.
That's okay. That's okay.
There you go.
Well, listen, so you are here to hear a lot more about Bali. So our
Yes.
podcast episode today is Toya Goes to Bali. We're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to get into the meat of the conversation with Toya from her trip or on her trip to Bali. So listen, grab yourself some Moscato and come on, drink and toast with Toya and myself as we talk about Bali.
There you go.
All right, so welcome back. Again, we have Toya here with us. We are talking about her trip to Bali. So Toya was here with us when we went to Colombia, and so she's back to talk about Bali. She's going to be back to talk with us about France. But Toya,
Yes.
what was your first impressions of Bali? And did it live up to your expectations?
I think like I said in Colombia when we did that podcast, when I travel, I tend to be more of a low expectation girl. I really don't have these crazy high expectations and I want to be blown away. And I just go with very, very low expectations and say, listen, how is this trip going to go? So I went with just, let's see, Bali's in Indonesia. Let's see how it goes. And boy, did it shock me. Boy, was I pleasantly surprised and
How so?
impressed. Because truthfully, I feel like because my expectations were so low, but not that low in the sense of I didn't think they didn't have anything. We all know Bali, they have these beautiful Airbnbs and, private chefs. You see it all over Instagram.
Yeah.
So there is some level of luxurious feeling that Bali has. But there's also this great cultural aspect to them, like the Balinese people, that I did not expect to embrace. And they were very open with their culture, open with their religion. And it was such a beautiful thing to experience. They were not like, you're not from here, you wouldn't get it. So no need to talk about it. They were like, no, let me tell you how it really goes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's actually really good. And you started talking about this before we went to break. You were talking about the swing.
Yeah.
So would you say that is one of the most memorable experiences that you've had in Bali? Or if not, then what is that?
I would say my top two most memorable, and I had a few, right? Because Bali is beautiful. I was here for almost a week.
Okay.
But yes, the Bali swing for sure, because of course, like I was saying, how beautiful everything is. And there's a water spring.
Okay.
That they do. It's more of a religious, more spiritual. They are religious as well, but there's a spiritual aspect to that makes it very beautiful. And a lot of locals are there. So it's very much a common thing. And not only is it just common, but you can tell it's embraced and it's appreciated and it's revered.
Wow.
So to be a part of something like that and for them to say, yeah, come on in, let me show you how it's done was so amazing.
Okay. Wow. So the Bali Spring and the swing.
The Bali swing and the water springs.
The water springs.
I should get the name.
Okay.
While you do something, and I'll see if I can grab that.
And what would you say was the most surprising thing that you discovered about you said the Balinesian? That's how the Bali people are called, Balinesians.
I think they're Balinese. Right?
Balinese.
There you go.
So what is the most interesting thing that you've discovered about the Balinese culture?
So I started talking about that a bit earlier too, right? With their culture and how open they are with it and their religion. So when you go there, they're not ashamed, and no one should be obviously, but they are very open with their religion. I believe they are Hindu, but I think Indonesia is Muslim, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me.
Okay.
But because they are Hindu, they pray and give offerings 3 times a day. right? Or I think that's what it is. So, and it's so crazy because
What is
regardless
this?
regardless of what religion you have when you're there in their Airbnb, let me tell you something. So
Ooh,
we're in our
tell us.
Airbnb and I'm up early because, I'm in Bali. It's like a forest. It's beautiful. I want to go pray and do my thing, just enjoy nature. All my friends, well, the other girls were sleeping. And I go out maybe like 6 in the morning or whatever. And they already came and, cleaned for the morning and all that. And you would see the offerings like on the floor by like the pool. And they had this big Buddha like statue in the Airbnb. And I think, and that there's a beautiful like spread of blessings, and these blessings are everywhere. You go to the mall, blessings. You go to the grocery store, blessings. You go to the beach, blessings.
Okay.
You driving down the street, blessings on the side of the roads. Everybody's house. Matter of fact, to put it into perspective, when you're driving and you see a house, they literally build a separate standing like situation for these blessings to go on 3 times a day. People will leave their home, will leave the front door, come out, go to the standing thing that they built for these blessings and put these blessings there.
Wow.
3 times a day. And you will drive and you will see it. You will see it on the floor. Like you will see it everywhere. So that was a shock for me. And then and even in their car, you're driving with a guy and he has it literally in his dashboard. And because no matter what you're doing, if it's 6 a.m. or whatever the times are, you better start praying and start giving your blessings. And it's like flowers, different kind of flower. And it's like very religiously there.
Wow.
And it's everywhere.
So, okay. Excuse me, my throat is a little bit dry. So to some people that will be very shocking.
It
That'll be
is.
surprising. Even to some, it could be scary. How, truth be
Right.
told, to some, it
Right.
will be scary. How did you take that?
I think, I had a lot of questions, right? And our driver was, of course, like I said, very open, very honest, very transparent. So he is just like, listen, this is what we do, no matter where we are. This is how we show our appreciation to the gods, and goddesses and all that good stuff. And I'm just like, oh, okay, so that's that. And he goes, yeah, that's that. Everyone does it. It's completely normal. It's completely common. And I think because he was open with it, he's been doing it his whole life. His mom and dad, everyone, is teaching him and showing him different ways. Because of that, I believe I have like an embracing attitude because he didn't just shy me. Like he just like brush me off. Like,
Got you.
It's a part of our religion. Get used to it. That kind of undertone people will give you when you're not from their country, and especially being American. But he didn't do that. So I think because it was more embracing and more like, let me put you on, here's the educational piece of it, I embraced that more. So it became much more common. So I look out for the blessings. Day 3, I'm looking on the floor like where the blessings at, because I'm not trying to step on the blessings, because they will tell you don't step on these blessings.
Oh, wow.
So day 3, day 4, you're looking, you're driving, you see it, it's common to you. You're like, okay, let me go over here, let me go over there. I came to, and it becomes a part of you. By day 4, you're like a Balinese.
Wow.
There you
So
go.
listen to listeners. If this is something you need to know and expect when you go to Bali, expect that this is a part of their culture, their religion.
Yes.
And this is something that you either need to get used to, or if you're not comfortable with it, then maybe Bali is not a place for
Maybe
you.
it's not.
Listen, I'm grateful for these conversations because
Of course.
there are a lot of things that many people, because I've never heard this or even recognized this. And when you said it, I was like, oh, wow, what another layer to consider, because some people are going to love this. Some people are going to feel uncomfortable, or some people are going to really they're not going to be with it. So it's really helpful to really know these things so you can know what to expect when you go. Okay. And so let's talk about food, because food is certainly a part of travel. And it's one of the things that I'm sure most travelers, and I'm sure when you travel, you look forward to.
I do.
So did you try any exotic food, or are there any exotic food that you tried that you want to talk about? And which ones were your favorite?
So I'm not sure if there are any exotic foods in Bali considering their religion, but I may be wrong.
Hmm.
Our driver, we specifically asked, we want some local food. So we did go to a lot of local restaurants. And a lot of the meals were like lo mein and rice. But of course, they have spices. So the spices that they have separates your regular lo mein and chicken dish that you will get. It's the way they prepare their chicken, the way they prepare their lo mein that makes it so different. It's completely different.
Makes sense.
And it's very tasty.
Wow.
The food was on 10.
So, I don't think I've ever had. Why I keep saying Balinesians?
I know,
That's not it? How do you say?
Balinese.
Balinese. Balinesians just sound
it just
right
flows
to
off
me.
the tongue, right?
Yes, a Balinese. So, what dish or what cultural dish or culture would you probably compare the Balinese dish to? Is it close to Caribbean dishes?
I think it's closer to Asian cuisine.
Indian.
Asian, Indian. I'm not even a big fan of Indian food, nor have I been so explorative of it. I'm not that adventurous when it comes to Indian food because of the spices, and I don't like spice. But in Bali particularly, I feel like the spices, it wasn't this crazy hot pepper, spice level, but the spices were just different. You can just tell you're eating a different meal. It ain't just salt and pepper and some, Cajun and some paprika and some
all those
Asian, it's all
South
that.
Asian spices.
There you go.
Okay.
That made it very different. And I will shout out one thing too. Our private chef.
Oh, y'all had a private chef?
She's a local. She's, and she came, honey, with the whole works.
Wow.
The private chef, the cooks there are fantastic.
Okay.
We did not have a bad meal.
Wow.
And I'm talking about from seafood to ribs.
Wow. You guys did an Airbnb, you said.
We did an Airbnb.
Man should, because we know Bali is known for that.
Yeah.
And so you guys had a private chef with that.
We had a private chef
How much would you estimate that the cost of the Airbnb would be?
Well, this may be bad, but I don't remember how much Airbnb cost. It wasn't that expensive. If it were that expensive, I would be like, oh my God, it was expensive. But it was relatively affordable, so I don't remember how much it cost, right?
It was that cheap that she was like, this was nothing. Which is a good thing.
It's a good thing.
Yeah.
It was 7 of us too. So I think that alleviated the cost. It was 4 great, huge bedrooms. And each bedroom has its own ensuite bathroom, right? So it was this huge, massive space with the pool, 2 living rooms, dining room, kitchen. It was massive. It was beautiful. Outdoor space. It was literally, and a downstairs for you can do your yoga. That's what's my exercising in the morning and praying in the morning. It was just massive. It was beautiful. But it was 7 girls, so the cost wasn't too crazy. But for the cook, I believe her fee was like $25 or $20 something per person.
Okay.
And
did that include the
appetizers,
items?
entrees, dessert.
So you didn't have to buy the groceries separate. That's actually good.
The salad, you can tell, was picked from their backyard.
Oh.
Listen.
Oh.
I talked about this a lot on my blog.
Oh.
Shameless plug.
Give your blog information.
My blog is on Patreon. Oh, she's thriving.
She's thriving.
And that's OH, okay? Oh, she's thriving. But I really talked about, because you know how you have a salad? Like the salad blew me away because you can tell it was picked from her backyard.
Wow. Okay.
She came with her backyard salad. She came with her cucumbers, her tomatoes, her onions, her lettuce. And the food was it was fresh. It was good. I mean, even the ribs. I'm like, ma'am. Wow. Okay. Yeah, so give them a little shout out too. You can get you a nice little private chef because they know what they're doing. So I don't want to dissuade people because they think, oh my God, they're local. They may not make it the way we like it. It's going to be different. It's not going to be your Applebee's ribs that, is slapped with barbecue sauce. But it's going to have nice sauce and it's going to be tasty and it's going to be well done. Even the steak. Jesus. The steak came out medium rare. Ooh. Medium rare and tasty and juicy. Wow. Well seasoned. Wow. And you can just tell it's not the simple salt and pepper. You know what I mean?
They had some of those Balinese spices.
Flavor. There you go.
Ooh, okay. So I guess takeaway here is when you go to Bali, first of all, get yourself an Airbnb. And this is, we knew this from Instagram.
Right, of course.
Beautiful Airbnb. So I guess Bali is an Airbnb destination.
I would not recommend hotel, no.
Right? Airbnb destination.
Yes.
And then once you're getting your Airbnb, then get yourself a private chef as well.
There you go. And a private driver.
Private driver. Ooh, ooh. Yeah, the driver. Tell us about the driver.
It's 7 girls. So we obviously have to we can't depend on Uber. So I'm like, listen, guys, the most viable way for us to get through Bali and through all our excursions and nightclubs, come on, like we need a driver. I'm not trying to see different people, different times. Like I want the same guy every time I go out. And it's also a safety issue too.
Makes sense.
that covers that piece, right? So we know him, he knows us. But the driver's also, they're local. So I'm like, listen, guys, we want some nice food. He's like, I got you.
He knew the spot.
He knew the spots.
Ooh.
He put us on game.
Wow. Okay.
He got a nice tip.
Okay.
There you go.
As he should.
As he should.
So listen, you guys are learning the tips and the tricks for Bali.
There you go.
So definitely when you're going, hit up Toya because she can provide a lot more insight and information for you.
For sure.
But we also know that Bali is known for its beautiful beaches and its vibrant nightlife. You just talked about the clubs. So what was your favorite beach in Bali if you went to the beach? And then after let's talk about the nightlife.
Okay.
So let's start with the beach. Favorite beach.
Let's start with the beach. The beach is so different there, right? So the excursion is like 4 beaches in one excursion, right? So you go to 4 different beaches. It's this long, everlasting day. But I will say the beach to me that I loved, and I think this is the Kellen King Beach.
Okay, Kellen King.
That's the one with the dolphin.
Oh, okay.
And it's not an actual dolphin, but from a distance, you can see that the dolphin is an inspiration to the beach.
Got you.
Let me show you. Look at this.
Oh,
you see
wow.
this?
So we're going to put these pictures on the blog when this podcast come out. Wow. So yeah, it does look like a dolphin.
It does. And then you have this kind of beach
that's a nice
too.
Picture.
Thank you so much. Tell me about it. And this beach is also beautiful.
We got to put that up. So you're going to see all these. Wow.
Thank you. This is the beach there.
Wow.
Let me see. Take this. Look at it. I am telling you.
So you guys can't see it right now, but you're gonna see it when this podcast come out. Wow.
The shots.
Oh my God. And this is beautiful.
Thank you.
Jesus. Okay. So
yes.
Bali.
Bali. I'm telling you.
Okay.
I'm telling you. So there's like that excursion, like the 4 beaches in one. And then here's another nice tip that our driver put us on. So there's a beach there that's black sand.
Okay.
We didn't have the time. So we couldn't go to that beach. But if you're ever going to Bali, I think you should carve out, because it's on that island, right? So you're leaving Bali to go to a separate place. When you go there, I think it's through a boat and all that. Like it's a nice situation. It's a whole day thing.
Okay.
Take that time and go to that black sand beach. And I hear it's the best.
Wow. Listen, so to our Caribbean islands like St. Vincent and the Grenadines, my homeland, who, Vincentians have black sand beaches.
Yeah.
And Vincentians, you have hoteliers who are coming, who are getting rid of the black sand. Y'all should hear that black sand is not common and people want to see black sand. They're getting rid of them.
That is unfortunate. That is so unfortunate.
Because in their minds, they think that what tourists want is white sand beaches.
But are tourists complaining?
Tourists are not complaining.
So where are they getting this idea from?
Because what tourists mostly know, most of the beaches that are promoted are white sand beaches.
Okay.
People don't typically see black sand beaches because they're not quite common. So this is a unique feature that places that have black sand beaches should embrace. But I think it's the newer tourist destinations like St. Vincent that may be trying to get rid of them at any chance they could.
That's unfortunate. That's so sad.
Unfortunate. But yeah, let's talk about the nightlife.
The nightlife. So Shishi nightclub is really good. I actually found that for the group. They're like, oh guys, we need a nightclub. And I'm like, let me do that part. Because I don't know about you guys, but I want to have a good time.
Okay.
And I want different kind of music. And I want us to have so She nightclub is nice. They give you a
What
VIP.
makes it okay?
You have a VIP section. And of course, the prices are, oh my God. So really quickly,
Boy.
just a side track.
Okay. Tell us.
Bali.
Let me get this wine.
Yes, pour. Because this little side bar.
Grab your bottle. Grab your cup. Let's pour. Let's pour.
Refill.
Uh-huh.
So, you hear that go? He poured it. Y'all heard that? That was a heavy, generous pour. Okay. A generous pour. So yeah, Bali has large values compared to the US dollar, right? So for every US dollar, the value is 15,000 Balinese dollars. And things cost about $150, right? So when something costs 150 US dollars, when you convert it over to the Balinese dollar, this is millions and millions and millions of dollars. And counting to that's a thing, right? So we're not used to it. So you have 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000, okay, 100,000, boom. And then they have another set of like $50,000 like notes. And then they have $20,000 notes. And then they have $5,000 notes. And then you're putting together 2-3 millions and you're counting up to $1 million. When you're in Bali,
yeah,
and there's 7 girls, you're counting to $1 million, y'all. So if y'all don't know y'all math, brush up on your math. It's a big group of y'all, brush up on your math because you are going to need it.
You know what? That is not an uncommon story. Well, for countries that have big bills,
15,000 to $1 US.
It was the same experience that I had in Nigeria, and it was annoying.
It's dreadful.
It was. And in Bali, do you have to carry around cash or can you use cards?
Some places don't even take cards.
And that was the annoying part because it's a different story when you are paying, let's say, $1 million that is going to translate to, let's say, $50.
Right.
Okay, cool. However, as Toya just said, it's $1 million that you may have $100 bill, $1,000 bill, a $500 bill, and you are counting this out. That is annoying.
All the time.
And you may have to carry around this money, which was the most annoying part.
Thank you. There you go.
Wow. Thank you for that. Because I remember in Nigeria, that was one of the most annoying things for me. Because I remember we were out one night and the bill came and I'm sitting at the table just counting. You're counting
endlessly. And then you're going to double count to make sure you get the right amount of money. Because they won't give you back the change. Like, oh, because you gave me too much. They won't do that.
Exactly. And as you said, in America and many places here in the West, our bills are smaller in the West.
Much smaller.
Certainly like the Caribbean,
right?
North America, Europe, the bills are smaller.
Yeah.
In Britain, the pound is £1 is easy. £1 will get you a candy.
Right.
Stuff like that.
Right.
However, it seems like many other places, they just have these large sums of money. And maybe that's what's making them, because a lot of these people are really good at math.
They are.
And maybe we gave it to them,
like especially the private chef, right? So it's $28, of course. So you transfer that. That's like, I think one night it was like $450,000 we all had to get, right? And when you go to these places to get your money, they're not giving you $100,000, right? Because you have $28. So they have to give you some coins, and some coins are like 1,000 or 5,000, and you're trying to make up this money, and you're trying to count, and you give the lady like, Miss, we don't know if this is enough money, and if it's over, can you let us know? And she was so honest. She's like, you gave us too much, and she gave us back our change. And we tell her, we can keep it as a little tip. And we're like, damn, it's not even a lot of money for the tip. But she was getting her other tip anyway. It was just a tip for just that particular moment. But it was just one of those things where she was the only one we can trust in that whole time, because nobody else we knew was going to give us back the money. No one would do it. I know they wouldn't.
Of course.
I wouldn't. If you come to my issue. It's your issue. Figure out how to count, because we can count to $2 million. Why can't you count $2 million, ma'am?
Oh my God. Listen, so y'all learn, when you go to Bali, you better try to make sure you brush up on your math, as Toya said.
Damn.
But tell us about the nightclub.
Yes, she was nice. She was so good. The hookah is nice. The drinks. I haven't had a lemon drop that good in a long time. And Shishi Nightclub did that. So shout out to Shishi Nightclub.
And what type of music did they play?
Everything. If you don't follow me on Instagram right now, I don't know what's going on with you. But I think I haven't saved in my highlights anymore. I never had it saved in my highlights, excuse me. But for those, of course, who, follow, y'all probably saw, it was everything from R&B to rap. I mean, like lean back, lean back. I mean, I'm looking at them like, excuse me, sir, what you know about this? Chris Brown.
Early 2000s.
What's her name? Make me sweat.
Oh, Tyler?
Tyler, make me hot. And I'm like, excuse me. And the whole place getting
global.
up. They are international.
Wow.
They are international. She nightclub, and it's many levels. It's like 3 or 4 levels, which I loved. So if you wanted hip hop and that kind of music, you go to that level. If you wanted something like more techno, they had a techno like kind of level. And I think they also had like a local vibes kind of level. So
gotcha.
Pick your flavor. Pick your
3
flavor.
levels to pick from.
There you go. And the drinks was pouring. The drinks was nice. The food was really good. No one had any
cost
complaints.
effective.
Cost effective. They take cards.
Wow, that's good.
So it was good. It really was a really, really good time. We enjoyed ourselves till like 2, 3 in the morning.
Wow. Bali. Okay. Shishi nightclub.
Shishi
nightclub.
Yes.
And so while you were there, did you have chance to participate in any of the traditional Balinese, hopefully I said that right, ceremonies and cultural activities?
So yes, I briefly mentioned the springs, right? So I got the name. It's the Holy Temple Springs.
Okay. Holy Temple Springs.
Yeah, and it's the common thing there, very religious. So again, it's also all on my blog too, but just to break it down, it's 2 parts, right? So before you get to the springs, you have to like give an offering, right? But there's no like statue or anything there. But there's a table, you go, you get your offering, you pay separately because you obviously, not obviously, but you can understand that when a tourist will pay money if locals don't. So locals don't have to pay. So you'll see locals there doing their thing, go in, do their thing, leave, and it's free to them, but we have to pay, which is fine. It's not a lot. It's probably like, it's not a lot. I think it was like $1 to rent, which is $10,000 to rent the green sarong.
Hopefully here in New York, tourists are paying for our museums and we are free.
Yeah, but it's never that way, is it?
It's never that way, right?
There you go.
New York Tourism Board.
America, we got to catch up because they've caught up.
Yes.
They've caught up.
We've been paying.
We've been paying as
they
Americans.
Think we're billionaires.
That's another topic. They don't realize that we paying $10 million. You guys paying to come here. But yeah, so you get the green sarong, you give your offering, and you say a prayer. You pray to God, pray to whoever God you have or whatever spiritual pathway you are on. You give your blessing, you kneel, and then you go and you wait in the line. And in each port of each blessing, there's like a waterfall, right? So you can just picture this beautiful, huge spring, maybe like 8 or 9 or 10 different pipes that's producing natural spring water. And everyone has to, and the only ones that you go to are the ones that has the blessings on them. Back to the blessings, right? So if there's a waterfall or a pipe with water flowing from it, no one's going to go to that one because there's no blessings on it. So let's say they have like 10 pipes there, but maybe like only 8 blessings. The cultural thing there is to go, each person will go, dip your head, you say a prayer, dip your head 3 times under the water, and then you go to the next one. You do that each time until you're done. Check this.
I'm checking.
So we there. I think I'm at like number 8. I think I have like 2 more to go. Right? Me and 2 other girls. Tell me why a water snake.
What?
A water snake came out of nowhere. And this guy, I see this guy like pushing the water. You know, like how you're in a pool, you want to play with someone, you push the water. So I'm seeing this guy pushing the water, like, go away. So I'm thinking he's catching the Holy Ghost. I'm like, okay. That's what the demons. Them. Tell him to one. Tell him to leave and do not come back.
Jesus. Oh my God.
So I'm like, hallelujah. I'm looking at him like, oh, amen. And it's a snake. It's a huge snake. And then he's not even saying snake. He's just trying to say, go away. And then this lady goes, oh my God, it's a snake. And I'm like, please. I look over. A white snake comes seeing through. I mean, fast as hell. And I'm like, oh my God, let me get out of here before I get bit. And I run. My friend, well, the girl that was there, she ended up busting up her leg because some lady pushed her out the way. People don't play with snakes, right?
Toya, I'm having a fit over here. Like, I'm like,
where did snake come from? So me now, being the girl from Brooklyn and being so dramatic and extra, snake! And I'm running back in the water. Snake!
In the people them temple.
In the people them temple, big scene. Big scene and all. Snake! Snake! So everybody's like, oh my God, it's a snake. So now the place is scattered. Everyone is trying to leave. This is a big situation. And don't ask. I turned around and I was like, should I just go? Because everybody done scattered. I'm like, should I do the last two by myself? Because the line was to my knees. That's how long the line was.
Wow.
And I'm like, well, dang, should I just go? But then I'm like, I don't want to get bit. I don't want to have a snake situation. Let me just leave. So I ended up leaving, but I did get 8 of the 10 springs. It's always something, okay? It's always something, okay?
Oh, that's
always
something.
A
lot.
It's a lot.
And
it's a lot.
For me who don't like snakes.
And I saw it because I'm like, I got to see it to believe it. I got to see it because I'm like, it ain't, because I just waited on this long line, sir. And I got 2 more. I only have 2 left. Let me just finish. And I have a prayer in my mind because I pray for certain things, praying to God. It's a really spiritual moment. You really are tapped in. I don't know what it is, but you really are tapped in. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I forgot this. I forgot that. I'm going to do it for the next one. And I'm like, but I already have it in my spirit and I already have it out in the ether anyway. So I know it's already taken care of. But still, I wanted to do the whole ritual with it. You know what I mean? And I only had 2 left. And I'm like, damn.
Toya?
I saw that snake, and I'm like, no, there's a real snake, guys. No, it's no tiny little baby snake.
It's
like,
a big snake.
It was at least a teenager. It wasn't like a python, but it was a teenager snake.
My blood just crawl.
I'm like, yeah, I'm out of here. I'm out of here.
I do know. Oh God, I know. I've seen like snakes. Bali is known for snakes. So like when you're saying that, I'm like over here, like, do you really want to do this?
But I never knew anything. It's so funny because you learn. I know about snakes like desert. Like in the desert during some of our excursions, there were snakes. You would see the snakes.
In Bali.
There were dead snakes on the side of the road.
Yeah, so maybe this is not a place that I would go.
But they don't bother you. They don't bother you.
I can't do snakes.
They don't. You will see from afar, like how you will see a monkey on a tree. The monkey's all the way up there, but you see, that's how the snakes were. They weren't like so close to come and touch you. But from where you're standing, you can see the snakes.
In your Airbnb?
No. And during the excursions, when you're in the town and when you're doing the excursions and stuff and you're traveling, you do see snakes.
So yeah, listen, I'm over here. My heart is racing. It's a lot for me, right?
Snakes, Bali and snake. I never knew of a water snake. I never knew there was anything called a water snake.
My biggest fear.
Yeah.
My biggest fear.
Yeah.
Because I love the water.
Yeah.
And so in my mind, I'm going to St. Vincent next week.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, what if I encounter a water snake? What am I going to do?
I had no clue. I learned what a water snake was in Bali. See, travel, guys. You learn. I'm like, oh my God. Because everyone's like, oh, it's not going to bite you. It's just a water snake. They don't really want that. They just want to be in the water. That's not their thing. I'm like, a snake is a snake.
Yeah.
It will bite you because it's bored. Versus a snake that would bite you because it's being,
It's a bully.
Right.
Big bully snake.
There you go.
But anyway, so what advice would you give to someone who is taking a trip to Bali?
Yeah. Well, honestly, definitely get an Airbnb. Definitely get a private chef. If it's more than 4, people traveling, definitely get a private car if you can afford these things, right? But that's the thing about luxury. It's really about comfort and it's about protection. It's about those kind of things. So I think having that is good. Another advice really is to get the driver above all because that is your local inn for everything in that particular town. So we stayed in Ubud. So in Ubud, you need someone local to give you like the ins and the secrets and where the good spots are. And I think that's helpful. So get your Airbnb, number 1. Number 2 is definitely get you a driver, right? And then number 3, if you can afford it, a private chef.
Gotcha.
That's my top 3 things about my advice for people in Bali. And of course, get your money counting, get your math up because it's real and it's expensive.
Go back to school.
Go back to school. There you go.
Wow. Listen, thank you, Toya. We've talked a lot about
we have.
Bali. Listen, hopefully a lot of these tips and tricks help you as you are planning and considering going to Bali. Listen, for me, I don't know if I'm going to rush to Bali right now because of the snakes, but I'm adventurous. But you should definitely put it at the top of your list because again, the pictures I've seen, the pictures you're showing me here, the pictures we're going to show you on our blog, honestly will probably convince you that you should probably go to Bali if it's already not on your list.
If it's not, yes. So
we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to wrap this entire conversation up with Toya. We are talking to Toya about her trip in Bali. Toya goes to Bali.
Ooh, yeah.
So welcome back to the Young Black Travelers podcast. Again, we have LaToya here with us, and we are talking about her trip to Bali, Indonesia. Listen, I am still trying to get over myself over here about the conversations about the snakes. Obviously, you can see I have a deep fear, and it is what it is. I probably won't let it dissuade me from heading to Bali. But before we continue on this conversation, before we play our games, before we ask our closing questions, we usually do a shout out of one of our travelers, one of our followers, someone who's engaged in our community, someone who probably shows up at our meetups. So by the way, if you're in New York, know that we do a lot of meetups here and there. So look out for those information on our Instagram. And on this episode of the Young Black Travelers podcast, we're going to shout out a loyal follower of Young Black Travelers. She has amazing travel content on her page. You honestly will be inspired by her content. So I'm telling you to head over and take a look at her page. Her Instagram name is LostOnATrip_. That's LOSTONATRIP_. Go over to her page if you want some travel inspiration. If you want to just know probably where to travel next, check out Nicola's content on Instagram. Yeah. And Toya, we usually play this game amongst many games on this podcast. And this game that we are playing today is this or that. So there's no in between.
Okay. Ooh,
you either choose this or that. One or the other.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you a series of questions and you're going to pick one.
Okay.
Which one you prefer, which one you would want to do, which one is your preference. Okay. So first, beach or mountain trips, adventures?
Beach.
So you're a beach girl.
For sure.
Okay, that one was easy.
Yes.
City break or countryside retreats?
That's a tough one. That's a tough one. So I'm going to final answer.
Final answer for 1,000.
Countryside retreat.
Countryside retreat. Okay, makes sense. Makes sense. Historical sites or natural wonders?
Wow, these are really good. Natural wonders.
Natural wonders. Okay. Makes sense. I mean, Bali.
There you go.
The beach and all those pictures you show me. Natural wonders, certainly, indeed. Solo travel or group travel?
Vacation. Vacations. Vacations for 1,000, Alex.
Vacation for 1,000.
Vacation.
Okay. That's a good one too. And so adventure sports are leisurely sightseeing.
Adventure.
Okay.
Right? It depends. I had to pick, but it depends.
On the vacations, you're gonna do adventure sports.
Watch some animals. Like, let's go hiking, do some stuff. Like, let's really figure out what's going on this beautiful island. Let's get to the meat and some potatoes.
Makes sense.
Yeah, there you go.
Makes sense. Okay. And so local cuisine or familiar food from home?
Local cuisine all day, every day. It's no other way. No other way.
And cultural immersion or a relaxing getaway?
Immerse me into your culture.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, so that's a good one. I
There you
mean,
go.
Toya seems to be the cultured type. She wants to get to know the people, be with the people.
Yeah.
That's a traveler
Yeah.
at heart. All right. And so, Toya, our last question for you. You know, we always talk about the things we love the most on these podcasts. Listen, but let's be real. Let's tell the truth and shame the devil. What is something that you hated the most about your trip to Bali? Something. It doesn't have to be cultural, doesn't have to be local. It could be
Right.
based on your experience with your group, whatever it is.
Right.
What did you hate the most?
Oh, you mentioned that's a whole other can of worms.
Oh boy, Lord, I don't want to end any
my
friendships
God.
here. Okay.
You know what's crazy? We're not gonna, and I'm not
But we
gonna
could
get
ruffle
into
some
detail.
feathers if you want.
Just like
ruffle.
a little 10
Just
second
a
little
bit.
snip. You know, the thing about really quickly group trips, I really feel like I know we want to have a good time. We want to post on IG. We want to really have the experience of group trips, but you really need to have, there's a method to, there's an equation to it all, right? And when you're traveling with a group of people, they should really know you. And this trip to Bali, I feel like, oh, you're cool, I'll work with you. You're cool, I'll work with you. I went with my best friend, was one of the 2 girls celebrating their birthdays. So I went with my best friend and I met most of the girls there for the very first time.
Oh, wow.
However, there was a lot of friction, right? Between a few of the girls, most of the same people arguing with different people. And I feel like it's because they don't really know each other. And they know each other surface level wise. But when you are stuck on a vacation for a week in Bali, you get to know someone very quickly, very, very quickly. Yeah. And if you're not the person who can just, a lot of arguments happened, right? And it's because people don't know each other that well. So I hated the fact that it was a lot of arguing. I felt like we should have had a camera.
Ooh, I was thinking that.
I felt like
makes a great vlog.
That would have put some money in my pocket.
Really young people of Bali.
That would have put some money in my pockets. I would have been like, okay, this was worth something for all this damn bickering, ladies. All this damn bickering, ladies. It would have been worth something.
So they were really arguing at every turn?
It was little things that will spark an argument. But I really feel like it stemmed from one particular thing, and it was a domino effect after that. It just ruined the vibe, I think, and ruined the mood. And people are trying to bounce back from it, but I don't think they really, really did because their feelings were hurt. So, you know, group travel is great. Don't get me wrong. I've had great experiences. But that particular one, a lot of people did not know each other, and it was for the vibe.
Yeah.
You can tell they were trying to make a vibe out of it. And it's like, when you do that, it bites you in the booty.
And would you say, because I agree with you that it would be helpful if everyone know each other, but sometimes that doesn't happen.
Right.
Would you say that maybe recognizing the energies who are going and personalities, that could also be helpful, or making sure everyone understand the different personalities?
Of course, even if it's a brunch at someone's place beforehand, you know, to kind of get to know everybody. I met girls for the first time at the airport.
Wow. That's
at
crazy.
The airport, I'm meeting these girls I'm going to be with a week for at the airport. And I'm cool with that because I can be very flexible with energies. Right? Because I'm not there for you. Even though I just met you, I'm there for one particular person. But, you know, then you form friendships with some girls and then they get into little riffs and rafts. And then, you know, it kind of gets a little sticky because you also want to form friendships. And then, you know, you still have to figure that person out on that trip. And you don't know what that looks like and how that can end or cause any problems for whoever you're there with, right? So that's a little sidebar about group trips and what I really did not like about that trip. But it was still a freaking great trip, and it was so amazing. I loved every second of it. But
and entertaining.
It was. Because I learned so much, right? Not just about water snakes, but I learned a lot about myself. I learned about groups. I learned a lot about people. I learned about even my friend. You know, I learned a lot about a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And it was an eye-opener. And that's what travel is about. Travel is about experience. It's about gaining wisdom. It's about gaining knowledge. Not about just, you know, it's really about learning and getting the positive from things. And that's what I got. But to really wrap up really quickly, what I think I hated the most, and if you've been to Bali, you would laugh and you would say, yes, LaToya, I agree with you 1000%. It is the travel to Bali.
Okay. How long did that take?
The first leg from New York City to Dubai is 10 hours or 12 hours, whatever that number is.
Emirates.
Shout out to Emirates. Hey, they listen.
One or two in the world.
And I was in coach.
That's what I've heard. Their coach is amazing. So could you imagine first class?
So could you imagine $10,000? Mm-hmm. Could you imagine spending $10,000? Mm-hmm. They are saying, "Do you want me to wipe your booty for you?"
They got showers up there.
They probably do.
No, they do. They got showers.
You know, it's so funny because in coach you have different levels, like you do in other flights. So again, I think we talked about this briefly, but what I also would advise is to get a premium economy if you can afford it, right? Because the upper level, the upper deck, it's private. It's a private space. It's only maybe less than 100 patrons that are up there. So you have your own bathroom. It's much bigger than the regular bathroom downstairs in the regular main economy on a flight. So you have a bigger bathroom. You have a beautiful screen that shows you outside, especially when you're about to land. It's literally a camera. You can see everything. You can see the people standing. I mean, it's literally the best. So if you can afford when you're traveling to Bali, not because it's so long, but because it's more space up there too. You know, if you can get to that upper deck, spend a little extra money, get up there. So I was able to, get up there, but still, nonetheless, the travel is the first leg to Dubai is 10 hours. The second leg from Dubai to Bali is 12 hours, and that's 24 hours of travel, not including the layover time. So I really did not, mentally you prepare for it because you're going away. So you're trying to
jet lagged.
And then the time difference. When you land in Bali, that's it. It's the time. No matter what time you think it is in your head or your body is telling you, it's that time. They're 11 hours ahead. Mm-hmm. It's so great being in the future, by the way. That's another conversation.
How does the future look?
Oh, the future is fantastic.
Oh, yes.
You know it is. So you're 11 hours ahead of everybody that you know back home. And that also, is its own dynamic, right? So you have to figure that out, especially if you have a boyfriend or a partner or your family, it's that particular dynamic that you have to figure out. But I didn't necessarily hate the time difference, but I really hated the travel to Bali. I don't think I'll go back anytime soon just because of how long of a travel it is.
Because that typically messes people up. And if you're not planning in advance, to know, okay, so maybe I should sleep on the plane or not sleep on the plane, because knowing what time you're going to land, you got to be ready. Either if you're landed in the day and you never slept, you have a whole problem on your head, Whole problem. Because you're going to be tired.
But then it's like, you had at 6 a.m., you wake up at 6 a.m. So you're like, I slept on the Dubai leg. You're up now.
You're up.
And who sleeps for 10 hours? Not that. But you sleep 6-7 hours, into the plane, And don't get me wrong, Emirates is silent as a lamb. Silent as a lamb. It doesn't even move. So you are sleeping, right? But at the end of the day, no turbulence. I mean, when I say shout out to Emirates,
Emirates is up
there.
Going
to Jamaica, JetBlue, blah, blah, blah,
shout
blah,
out
blah,
to
blah.
Emirates.
Shout out to Emirates.
Shout out to Emirates.
Shout out. So, the pilots, everyone's really fantastic. But again, like I said, if you slept that first leg, that second leg, you're wide awake. And then when you you sleep again, but when you get there, it's like you said, it's that time. So you got to figure out how you're going to move,
Got you. Well, listen, we're at the end of this conversation.
Yes, we are.
Toya, do you want to leave your Instagram? I know you did before, but leave it again for our listeners. If they want to reach out to you, how can they do so?
Yes. So you can reach out to me on Instagram. That is Rubies and Pearls. So that's Rubies, the letter N, and then Pearls with a Z. Mm-hmm. And you can also reach out to my Patreon. And that's She's Thriving.
She's Thriving. Head on over to Patreon. Okay. Check you out. Well, listen, we want to thank you guys for listening to the Young Black Travels podcast today. And we want to thank you, Toya. She's Thriving.
My pleasure.
For joining us today on this episode of the Young Black Travels podcast. Mm-hmm. We want to remind you that we do have Young Black Travels merch. I think we're actually sold out of most of the merch, but look out for our next merch drop, and you can simply see that through our Instagram. You can follow us on Facebook at Young Black Travelers. You can follow us on TikTok at Young Black Travelers, on Instagram at Young Black Travelers Blog, Threads at Young Black Travelers Blog, and you can simply visit us on our website at youngblacktravelers.com. We want to remind you to be aware when you're traveling, keep good sanitary practices wherever you go. And we want to wish you happy travels. Take care.
Happy travels.